Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can Andrea?
Okay,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I think now it should be fine, and I can start with my seminar. So first of all, please kindly apologize. We had some problems here, some technical problems. Let me now start delay. Let me first of all welcome you again. Thank you very much for joining in today's seminar. Selamat siang. Let's go on with the seminar, technical seminar on the delicate drying processes, moisture determination, quality assurance by using a Memmert vacuum oven. Drying processes. What does it mean? Drying processes is the removal of liquid from a material, removal of water or another solvent by evaporation, and this is also called in scientific terms mass transfer process. We talk here about the industrial process, manufacturing and chemical processing, and for all these industries, the drying process is a very, very important step. It is very and mostly important before selling or packaging a process. So we talk about here the agricultural products, and here I mean, like, for example, wet corn, rice, oats, sunflower, and seeds. Here the solvent has to be removed, and that means there is water in, and that is a drying to reduce the moisture. Or in plastic and paints industry, also here very important is the drying process. Drying process here also means that even different kind of processes might have to be done because we have here also products, more drying processes necessary. And of course, very, very important is foods, pharmaceutical and cosmetics. When we talk about these industries, then the drying process is a very important key manufacturing step. And in pharmacy, for example, it is the batch process. The drying occurs during this batch process. Or, for example, in food industry, we have here the dehydration is also called the drying, and that means heating under controlled conditions to remove the majority of the water normally presented by evaporation. Then we have here different drying techniques. So we have a physical drying methods and we have a chemical drying methods. If we talk about the physical drying methods, here this is mostly the drying processes air, which is used to displace the rinse water. Under physical drying, there is considered achieve the convection, the oven drying controlled by gravity, which means warm air is rising, or mechanical convection with blower for more uniformity, as well as vacuum drying for more sensitive materials and samples. Then the second way, which means here also the chemical drying. The chemical drying, which means here there is used different way. Here we use solvents, solvent drying or displacement. Here, for example, there is used a solvent for the removal of water or high boiling rinse agent. And here we have isopropyl, methyl or alcohol acetone. So when we talk about physical drying, like mentioned here, that means here we have all this convection, oven drying or vacuum drying. And here I would like to mention again, vacuum drying in industrial processes. That is here very important, and vacuum drying for very sensitive material, also drying of blind holes, or like, for example, drying of pharmacy. So for all different industries, this drying process is very, very important, and the methods vary with material and application. So drying processes without then incurring physical damage, undesirable modification, avoiding corrosion, and depositing salts back to the sample. So it is important for the product finish, for the product performance, and for the product quality. Here we talk about the food industry, about this dehydration of food until there's not enough moisture to support microbial activity. So drying removes the water content, and that means we remove the water which is here needed for the bacteria, yeast, and molds to grow. And that means in the food industry, we can talk about the preservation of food. And that is very, very important here in regard to the drying processes in a food industry. And then we have the pharmacy. Here in pharmacy, we talk about shelf life of ingredients and final products. And also here, the drying process, the dehydration process increases the shelf life. So here, food industry preservation of food is very, very important. And pharmacy dehydration, which increases the shelf life. Moisture content. Moisture content, here the quantity of water contained in a material. This affects also the taste and the shelf life of the product. We talk here about legal and labeling requirements. There are limits to the maximum or a minimum amount of water. One moment, please. Let me. Hello, everybody again. I just got the information that you cannot see my screen anymore, so I will open my screen again. I'm really sorry, but now at least it should work. Hello, everybody. Can you see my screen now again? So I can continue.
Yes, Andrea.
You can see my screen?
Yes, can, Andrea.
Okay, and could you follow my presentation until now? Because I was not sure if the sound was activated. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, yes.
So I will continue with the moisture determination. Sorry, but maybe there was some technical, had a little bit difficulties. So let me now continue again. So we talk here about the legal and labeling requirements when we talk about the moisture determination. There are limits to the maximum or minimum amount of water that must be present in certain types of food. Or if we talk about economical reasons, I think you can understand if you purchase the raw material, and the raw material depends on the weight and the price. So of course here also the moisture in the raw material is important when we consider economical reasons. Or if we go for microbial stability, as mentioned before, here it is very, very important, the moisture determination, because this refers to the shelf life of the products. This refers that it means we have to avoid the growing of any bacteria in the product, so the growth of microorganisms in food. This depends on the water content, and for this reason, many foods are dried below some critical moisture content. Or if we go on for processing operations, also here, let's talk about food processing. The knowledge of the humidity and the moisture in the product is really very, very important. So also drying processes, moisture determination, very important fact. But not only in food industry, of course, also in cosmetic and in pharmacy, this moisture determination is a very, very important matter. There are different kinds of forms of water, which is free water, absorbed water, and bound water. The free water, that means it retains its physical property and serves as a dispersing agent for colloidal substances and as a solvent for crystalline compounds. Or absorbed water, absorbed on the surface of macromolecules by Van der Van, that is a physical list, and by this principle, or bound water, which is in combination with various substances. So moisture determination, water content, important factor of the quality of the product, and it is inversely related to its dry matter. Important for food processing, food preservation, nutritional values, composition standards and regulation, and the analytical technique selection and expression of results, which means, of course, also when we consider the method, finding out which is the method for drying, which is the best way for doing the drying process. So also here, the moisture determination is mostly important. The moisture analysis are done in order to control maximum allowable moisture content. And when we do this process, we always have to consider temperature and time. And temperature and time is this important matter to figure out also the correct drying method to find out which is the best way for drying the samples. So for determination of moisture, there is a possibility using an oven, for example, universal oven of Memmert, or to use the vacuum drying oven. That means then you can do this at a lower temperature range, or even there is some processes you can use microwave oven and infrared drying or other methods. This always depends on the application and on the samples. Here's even a calculation scheme for the sample which is heated under a specified condition, and the loss of weight which is used to calculate the moisture content. So there is also here a formula available for doing the calculation of moisture content. Here we have also a use of vacuum oven, which is very important because for very heat sensitive material or for delicate drying process, the vacuum oven is a very, very good choice. Decomposition, also here, a vacuum oven is used as the drying temperature is reduced. Or the drying of honey and fruit syrups, the vacuum drying is done. So when we talk about vacuum drying, the vacuum oven is used for drying the heat-sensitive material. Here, for example, also powder. Powder you can dry without any air turbulence, and that means also without any movement inside in a very, very smooth and soft way. Samples are dried under these gentle heating possibilities. So it is safe for drying material where applying heat might degrade the product. And also we talk here about vacuum drying, which lowers the boiling point. So that means the boiling point, which is normally around 100 degrees, can be reduced, for example, to 46 degrees when we reduce the pressure to 100 millibar. Even if reduced further, we have a boiling temperature of water already reduced. Drying under reduced pressure allows a more complete removal of water and volatiles without decomposition. Degradation of heat-sensitive substances can be reduced, and more energy and time efficient, reducing processing time. So this is the reproducibility and for the safety. Let's go further to vacuum drying ovens, and let's also have here in consideration what that means. The vacuum oven means is a thermal process. This occurs in an airtight chamber. The desired level of vacuum applied by using a vacuum pump. So that means we do the drying process by reducing the pressure, and we need, of course, here a pump for this procedure. The entire process would take place under vacuum or controlled atmosphere. Also, we can use inert gas for some material in order to avoid corrosion. Here we can see an example that is from a pharmaceutical company, which is already very long on the market from Paraguay, South America. They are using a vacuum oven for their moisture content, and that means they need to have 13 and 16% moisture content of these gel capsules, and that is very important to have the best gel capsules, which means the best quality for the use. So they have some standards to follow, and there is USB standards, United States Pharmacopeia, and that is from standard 731 and USP 921. And here they follow these guidelines and rules, and then they always use a Memmert vacuum oven for the reproducibility and for the safety, and always to reach the same result, which means water content 13 to 16% for the best quality of their product. When we go further, we have been talking about drying procedures, drying with vacuum oven. Let me introduce to you the Memmert vacuum oven. Memmert vacuum oven, we have 3 different sizes. The VO29, which has 29 liters, VO49, which has 49 liters, and VO101, which has 101 liter content and volume in the interior. You can see here on the screen also the panel, which is a controller of generation 2012. And you can also see here most important setting, of course, when we talk about vacuum oven, that is temperature, and that is a pressure setting on the vacuum oven. Here we can see complete set. That means a vacuum oven on top. Below there's a pump module. In this pump module, there is included a pump that is a chemical resistant pump, and even a subframe. And the picture here shows the vacuum oven in a premium model type. That means here we have more connectors included. If you look very tightly to the interior, you can see at the rear the connectors in order to place in more shelves and trays into the vacuum oven. So drying under vacuum, to have a look on that one again. So like mentioned before, this is the process for very sensitive material. It means low pressure, speeds up also the drying process. So during the drying process in the vacuum oven, there will occur a pressure value of around 10 to 15 millibar. This means that the boiling temperature of water will be near to room temperature. So that is for heat sensitive material. This can be dried in the vacuum oven under very low temperatures, and the drying time consequently will be reduced. And we can also use nitrogen in order to avoid oxidation. Inert gas will then be used for this application. So we have here also looked to the vapor pressure table. So that means when we go for a pressure of 28 millibar, then the boiling temperature of water is 23, which is really very low compared to the general condition, which means that we have 100 degrees as a boiling temperature of water. When we consider pressure, we have environmental pressure of approximately 1,100 millibar, and here we go down to 28 millibar. What is important in a vacuum oven? Important is the heating arrangement. And here on the heating arrangement, we have here a direct heating on the shelves. So direct heating on the shelf means now we heat up directly each shelf which we placed into the unit, because under vacuum there is no air for heat transport available. So that is why we have to use this heated on the shelves. How does it look like? The heating on the shelf. We have here a thermomat, there's a heating mat, and outstanding is the sensor, which is here on the shelf placed, and that means direct heating on the shelf and controlling of each shelf separately. You see one setting, then here we have the actual temperature of the shelves, one setting, but each shelf separately controlled, which is outstanding, and that means also there is a protection of each of the shelf. Pressure, we have here pressure setting and a pressure control, and here we have a digital vacuum control, and this also will be done by controlling with magnetic valves. So we have here gas inlet, we have normal inert gas, also possible for the sizes 49 and 101. On the display, there is also a visibility of a graphical. And here, let's have a look to the standard, one shelf or two shelves included in the standard product. So that means VO29, one connector, one shelf, VO49, two connectors, one shelf, VO101, two connectors, one shelf. Or a premium model, we can even place in here more shelves because the unit comes with more connectors. The twin display, very briefly have a short overview on the vacuum oven. We have here temperature, we have here vacuum setting, we have here possibility for alarm messages. Then we have even calibration, and that calibration we can use in software, and then we can do the calibration for all the thermal shelves on the unit, which is a very special feature of the vacuum oven. Of course, we have documentation, so you can download the data. There's a storage of every minute, and you can download the data which is stored on an SD card up to 10 years. So here, calibration by using the Atmo Control software. And very important also, the digital pressure control. So that means we can do some rampings in regard to temperature, in regard to the pressure. So that means in order to heat up and to fasten the drying process, we can do the different rampings, and that can be set directly on the software, and then you can upload the program to a vacuum oven, and you can do the programming via different temperature ranges and also via different pressure ranges. So that is the look of this software, which is called Atmo Control software. This Atmo Control software comes along with a vacuum oven of Memmert, and then you have a possibility for documentation purposes and also to issue a program, to upload the program to the unit and to start it directly on the unit itself, on the vacuum oven. So very important to consider, it is a digitally controlled gas inlet. So we have really magnetic valves and it's digitally controlled. Very briefly to the pump, there is a chemical resistant pump. This is a brushless speed control pump which can be offered. And that pump means that we have here the advantage of this speed control pump, which refers to low noise level, low energy consumption, and longer lifetime. As additionally to the controlling of the pressure itself, we also have this automatically controlling of the speed controlled pump. So as you know, membrane pump has a lifetime. So here we have a longer lifetime for this special pump membrane. That is the look of the vacuum oven at the rear. So of course we need a connection for fresh air, for inert gas, for the vacuum connections, and mention again magnetic valves which are operating for the unit. Some technical data, so from 5 millibar to 1100 millibar, plus a low pressure is possible to be set, and the lowest pressure always depends on the pump which is going to be used. The temperature is from 20 up to 200 degrees, and the working range starts 5 degrees above ambient. In regards to the shelf, please kindly note we have shelves made out of aluminium or stainless steel, and that depends also on the application, if we use aluminium or stainless steel. So overview, finally, most important factors. So most important factors of a Memmert vacuum oven is the precisely setting and controlling of the temperature and of the pressure. Here to consider that each shelf is going to be controlled separately with an alarm also separately. And furthermore, we can even take out these shelves. So just use and put in the shelf which are requested. If they are not requested, you don't have to put it in the unit. This is for the transfer of the data. So we have the storage of the data on the unit. You can read out the data. You can download it to the laptop, and you can even transfer it in an Excel sheet or a PDF sheet. So for documentation purposes, also the vacuum oven is a very good choice. That is that you can here operate with different programs. You have alarm messages. Then here you have information again that the software comes along with the unit. So that is mostly important of Memmert vacuum oven, that we have this controlling of pressure and temperature, doing these different rampings, and that we have direct heating on the shelf. As a heat transfer, no air is included. So we have this direct heating from the shelf to the sample in a very precise way, because that is very important for Memmert. For Memmert is always very important the precision, the reliability, so also fulfilling the customer's requests. So I would like to thank you so much for joining in today's technical seminar. Please kindly apologize again for the delayed start, for the technical difficulties. Let me also briefly introduce to you the panelists. So we have two panelists here for your questions, actually. This is Stefan Eberlein, and it is also Mrs. Augustine from Memmert, Germany, and ITS Indonesia. So whenever you also have some questions, please kindly also send us your questions. You can also send it directly to ITS Indonesia or Memmert, AWEISS@memmert.com. Thank you again for joining today's technical seminar. If you want more information, please let us know. We will be very happy to send it to you. And best regards from the Memmert family. Thank you so much. Best regards from Germany. We are a manufacturer from Germany. So Memmert is not only a manufacturer of laboratory equipment, but a family business with a long history, a socially responsibility, and a reliable partner. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you.
Are there some questions from your side? It was information, and we can send you also further details, and Ms. Augustine from ITS Indonesia will also be glad to send you the presentation afterwards, so you can also have details on this presentation. So today it was all in regard to the delicate drying processes, moisture determination, quality assurance by using a Memmert vacuum oven. So Memmert vacuum oven is produced in Germany. We do then also, of course, the final checking, everything in Germany. And yeah, if you have further questions and more details requests, please kindly let us know. Thank you so much for today joining in the seminar. And let's hope that we can see us next time differently, so that means in personal. And now, thank you so much for this virtual presentation. Now, and also thanks for the organizer allowing me to speak today about this topic on the drying processes.